Chuck, I've got you on twice.
Stay for the week. Right on Bay Avenue in Southwood.
I'm logging off one because
When I was in college, he cleaned it all up. And one of the originals. And I've since it's grown from a 900 square.
Okay, I removed you from the other one.
22. And then I got a garage out, 1,000 square foot garage in the back. What the hell? You need dry septic. That was my college. That was vocational instructor.
June 6th board meeting will come to order.
Recording in progress.
Chewed up. I got well here. I took a finger off.
Let's start with the pledge of allegiance. 1, 2, 3, go. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bob, can I have you turn on your microphone? Thank you.
Okay. Mojave Air and Spaceport at Rattan Field, a regular meeting, Board of Directors for June 6th. Roll call, please. Director Alfred.
Here.
Director Morgan's here. Director Barney. Okay, not here. Director Coleman.
here.
And Director Valentine. Here. Okay, so we have 3 present and 1 remote. Next one is to approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay,
So we have to do a roll call vote because Director Coleman is appearing via Zoom.
okay. Roll call vote. Director Allred.
Aye.
Director Coleman.
Aye.
Director Valentine. Yes. And aye for Director Morgan. The ayes carry. So the agenda is approved. Now we have second item on our agenda is community announcements and public comments, not on the agenda. So those of you on Zoom, you're welcome to pipe in as well. Okay, nobody with comments, questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 3, the consent agenda. The staff recommends approval of consent items by one motion. There's minutes of the regular meeting from May 16th and check registers dated June 1st for $380,569.
Motion to.
Okay, we have one motion.
Second.
Director Valentine seconds. Roll call vote. Director Coleman.
Aye.
Director Valentine. Aye. Director Allred.
Aye.
Director Morgan, aye. Motion passes. Item 4 is action items. Special District Risk Management Authority Board of Directors election. That's a mouthful.
Mr. Vice President, members of the board, the Special District Risk Management Authority is undergoing an election. They're seeking votes from members of the authority, which the airport is one of those members, to select one of the 3 of the 4 candidates that are listed in the board memo. Included in the board packet are also the candidate statements of qualifications. There's 4 people running, 3 are incumbents. We just have to select 3 members that you'd like to vote for.
Well, I read them all, and I recommended unanimous vote be cast in favor of all the incumbents.
I second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay. No interest in discussion. Let's have a roll call vote.
Need a second.
Pardon me?
You want the second.
You were the second.
Who made the motion? Terry made the motion. I'm sorry, Terry. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify, Terry made a motion to re-elect.
No,
to
you,
cast
I
our
seconded
vote.
it.
Oh, Terry.
I'm sorry, it was just it was backwards now.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
Director Ballantyne, you made a motion to
Right.
re-elect, use our
A
vote to
unanimous
re-elect.
vote be cast in favor of the incumbents.
Okay,
And I seconded it.
okay. So roll call vote, Director Coleman,
Aye.
Director Ballantyne, Director Allred,
Aye.
Director Morgan, aye. Motion carries. Okay, next one is reports. Director of Administration.
Mr. Vice President, members of the board, Carrie is not with us today. She did want to pass on, though, that if you guys had any questions about the financials, to just check back in with her. She should be back Thursday.
Okay. And Director of Facilities.
Good afternoon. Just a few items to update. GA area, we've continued the repairs there. The contractor is not in that location this week, but they will be back on the 12th. We plan on doing additional repairs west of 973. And then once we complete that, we'll jump over the following week to east side where the 920 rows are. After that, then Tim and I and Ariel will drive through that area and look at what needs to be addressed after that. But we continue to press on through the end of the month. We did do the striping repairs over there while we had the stripers here for the compass rows. There are some areas that, because of the crack repairs that he was not able to do, I think it's very minimal, and we'll touch that up the next time he comes back, or we'll do it in-house. The waste oil receptacle or recycling of waste oil, I continue to work on. We did obtain the container. We do have plans to place that in the vicinity of the trash cans and the restrooms in the GA area. I'm still working through all the details. We have to find a method to keep it covered and contained. We're working on that. I will continue to update as we do that. Right now, we don't have staff available to get the containment area set up. As soon as we do, we'll jump on that. Pump 6 over in the pump house, the electric pump. Sometime last year, we actually started plans to replace pump 6 last year. We did complete acceptance testing today. The old pump we were not able to obtain repair critical spares, and the NFPA will not allow you to manufacture parts. So we replaced that pump. A lot of help from Jason Buck and IT. It was accepted today, and so it's a very good new asset for us, in my opinion.
Just to clarify, that's a water boost pump.
That's a boost pump for the pump house station. Deluge, yes.
Yeah.
So we have 5 diesels. This is the one electric pump. So we've replaced it completely. New pump controller, motor, pump, everything. The Compass Rose project, that calibration is complete. We did a seal coating of Echo in coordination with that, about 33,000 cubic yards of, square yards rather, of seal coating. And then we restriped all of Echo between Alpha and 826, including restriping of the Compass Rose. So that is completely open and ready for use. There was about a 4.6 degrees of arc that we moved it. It's very minimal. If you went out there and looked on the ground, you could see, but it did rotate a little bit.
Could you clarify when you say degrees of arc? Do you mean just degrees?
In the report from the surveyor, it's put in degrees of arc. I interpret it as degrees on a compass face,
Yeah.
but that's exactly the way it was reported to us, degrees of arc.
So, okay, just to clarify, it's, but it's shot in per, it's the latest magnetic variation, right? It's aligned.
Correct. It is aligned to
And it's 4
magnetic.
degrees different than the previous one. Is that what you're saying?
The painting on the ground had to rotate 4.6 degrees.
Okay. It almost sounded like, oh, there was an error of 4 degrees, not it's been updated to the latest magnetic variation.
No, there was no there was no error. It had to rotate to align with magnetic north.
Yeah.
The water main improvement, I'm going to be very brief on that. I know Tim's going to update. We did do some exploratory work over behind 84, 85, 86 in that area, and did determine that we will need to expose that line that's underneath in the GA expansion area. We are going to have to dig that up because there's not a way to isolate the lines that feed those 4 buildings. So we do have 60% plans. Mean Hunt continues to work forward. We did do the field work 2 weeks ago to kind of dig that up and do some exploratory work and uncover that. So it's moving forward. I think we're expecting 90% plans the beginning of July. And the gate A41 continues on. It'll be completed. Our plan is by the end of June. We've widened both sides of that to 20 feet. It was previously 14 feet. So that aids with all of the large vehicles going through there and striking it. So it's moving along. I would say we're probably about 50% complete with that, but we do expect to be done by the end of June. Industrial buildings, we've done a lot of work on several of the buildings that have been returned to us, mostly plumbing, electrical, lighting, fire systems, life safety, those kind of things. Hangar 77, we did a lot of work in preparation for it being rented on the 15th of July. We have a number of other buildings that we're working through. We're getting a lot of them back right now. We're trying to make sure that they are at least weather tight and safe before we re-rent them. And then the final thing is we did do our rail spur inspection yesterday, and I am working, I've solicited 2 quotes to do the repair at the Inyo crossing where the concrete or the asphalt is falling. So I don't have that back yet. I will have that for Carrie before budget year, and we will address that crossing as soon as the new budget is approved.
It would be Inyo, and what about over by the ambulance? Is that also one that needs?
We can look at that. We can look at that and include that in the budget. Yes. To answer your question, no, we were only focusing on Inyo, but I can have the
I
same
only
quote.
mention it. I'm not aware what the status of that one is, but I know we had an incident over there related to someone making a claim against us. Wasn't that in that vicinity? So
Yeah, we did repair it around that time, but that area gets a lot of industrial traffic, so it's
right, and they've got rocks stuck in their tires and all that stuff coming
so
off.
absolutely. I'll include that in our estimates.
Okay, great.
So that's all I had.
Hey, one question.
Absolutely.
I dread to bring this up, but what is the variation between the runways and the magnetic heading currently?
It's within 10
Well, I know that it's supposed. So I know that they've changed. Runway 8 used to be runway 7 a long time ago.
So we did have that evaluated at the same time that we looked at the compass rose. I believe the next change does not occur until 2035.
Okay.
I don't know all the details. I apologize, but I'm happy to share the report with you, and it's all in there.
But we're still within the 10 degrees.
We've got quite a bit of time before we'll have to change any of the runway.
The 4 degrees that the compass rose moved was a clockwise.
I believe so.
So that's consistent with the runway went from 7 to 8 over some period of time, I guess. Someday it may become runway 9 and 2 7.
Yes, and the exact dates and measurements are in the report.
Yeah.
I don't have it all.
It was just, if it went back the other way, it might be, oh, good. It's going to be a long, if you keep vacillating, maybe I have to change the number.
No, I don't believe it did, but I'm happy to give you a copy of the report.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Chief Executive Officer.
Mr. Vice President, members of the board, I'm just going to touch on the runway 1230 rehabilitation really quick. Ariel's been out there. She's been monitoring for the last week and a half. So if you have any questions that she could answer more specifically, but it appears that everything's going well so far. It looks like we're on schedule. We have a major transition coming up on Thursday where 826 is going to be closed for 6 days, is it? 7 days to facilitate the intersection construction work. So we are getting the word out to the tenants, and NOTAM's issued and monitoring very closely.
So traffic will still be able to land 422 and transition across 8 at that end.
Yeah, I think,
To
yeah.
access the Charlie, for instance, and will they also be able to cross it? Is it Echo in front, right out here? Is that-
Yeah, I think Echo's unaffected too, right?
What I'm saying is 826 will be closed, but we'll be able to cross 826 at the taxiways, right?
Right. So the majority of the work is going to be done on 1230. So the only portion of 826 that's going to be closed and inaccessible is where it intersects with 1230. And due to safety reasons, we can't not skip that project. We have to be able to coordinate that. But the only taxiways that'll be affected intermittently throughout the project are Alpha south of Bravo. And we are intensely coordinating with any tenants that need to utilize the Hammerhead or specifically Stratolaunch because they're locked in. Those NOTAMs are issued with a PPR. So if they have any need to access those areas, they contact me and I coordinate with the construction crews to open it for them and make sure it's swept. And then the other area that's going to be closed is Taxiway Alpha north of Foxtrot, including the Foxtrot intersection to expedite construction crews on and off and track as little debris onto our active taxiway as possible. And that also helps Tower immensely because they're not fielding dozens of construction calls an hour. They can access those areas quickly.
And is a portion of 826 available or no? For takeoff landing?
So we coordinated with our engineers and tried to see if it's possible to have 826 open. And it was determined that there is more usable length on 422 while it is open than would be usable on 826. And with the type of equipment that is on 826, it's too dangerous to allow any sort of intersections. But we did do a lot of work, did a lot of math and coordination trying to see if we could make that possible. But unfortunately, it's not feasible for that week.
Looks like things are going well out the window there, at least. Any surprises, any unexpected issues that slowed them down, or things going as planned?
Right now, everything is planned and on schedule. We did have a meeting a few hours ago. One of the only concerns that's come up is some of the unexpected weather that is forecasted for that week, but we're coming up with strategies to avoid shifting those runway closures as much as possible and keep everything on schedule. If for any reason the phase that they're in gets delayed due to rain, we're going to move forward with the other portions of the project and then go back and back pave the areas that may have been missed on the closed portion of the runway to avoid shifting any of those NOTAMs or closures as much as possible.
Okay. Were there any issues that were discovered during the destruction or the tear up of the current runway? Any surprises there?
So far, no surprises on anything south of Charlie.
Okay.
We still have milling and grinding that needs to be done north of Charlie and 826. We're crossing our fingers that we have the same story, but so far everything is going as planned and we are still on the timeline that was set.
Well, very good. Thank you so much.
And Eric, just to keep you in the loop, we have an agreement with the engineering and contractors. The minute they discover anything that could possibly slow things down, they're to notify Ariel, and then we'll meet and discuss, and then get the information out to you guys. Okay?
Very good. Great. Thanks, Tim.
Mr. Coleman has a comment, if I could.
Of course.
I think I tried to propose that 26 at Alpha be used for takeoff, and that seems to not be happening. But okay, you're on the main ramp and you're using 2-2. The path there is either Echo or Alpha, and then you got a back taxi on 2-2, 1,500 feet. So I thought the logistics might be a little more efficient if takeoff could be made from 26 at Alpha and landings on 2-2. So I didn't understand a safety issue with that because the prevailing winds are usually down 2-6 also. So I'm just saying, well, that might be more that week period. It might be a good logistic way to take off and landings efficiently.
Right, and I understand that, and that is something that we discussed in depth with our engineers. However, due to the amount of equipment and activities over there, it was determined that it is not a safe option to utilize 26 while the runway is closed. There's too much of risk of any sort of incident occurring or issue that we do not want to impose upon our tenants, our pilots, or our construction crews. So unfortunately, we did have to stand by the decision to not move forward with intersection departures on 826. I completely understand the sentiment about the back taxi. It is frustrating, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to move the project along as quickly as possible to reduce that.
Yeah, just to be clear, he didn't say takeoffs 8 and 26, just 26 at the intersection. So the equipment is behind you when you take off.
Correct.
I don't see why that would be a safety issue.
So while that's not necessarily a safety issue for the aircraft, it does pose a safety issue for the crews. So we were taking into consideration the crew safety as well. If we have any sort of aircraft departures off of that, not just the smaller aircraft, but allowing any aircraft off of there, because we would have to do the amount of coordination would take, well, this one and not that one, and then maybe this one, and contingencies. We also had a conversation with our insurance company to make sure that we would even be able to allow intersection departures, and they have contingencies as well. The time as well as the risk to our crews or the risk to our pilots would be too much.
Okay.
Yeah, we did
I don't
look
have a strong opinion
thoroughly.
about this. I'm just curious. But you just said you asked the insurance about intersection departures. I do them all the time at 26 on Alpha.
Right, and
A
those
lot of people do.
are when there's
construction
not
equipment down there.
construction
No, I know
equipment.
that. I get that, but it was
Right, and it's
I was-
it's the added construction equipment that is making the intersection difficult.
maybe I misunderstood you. I thought in addition to that, you said
No, it was just specifically for this project.
generically we never. Oh,
Yeah, just specific to this one.
yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And I must admit it was a very difficult decision to make, and I wish that we had a better answer for this. But unfortunately we cannot at this time.
One more question for Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
So to use the full length of 22, what's the taxi procedure then?
I have taxi drawings available, and I will send those over to you.
Is
And
it
anybody else-
Alpha or Echo or both?
I believe it's Alpha. I believe it's Alpha. Let me pull up the
Right.
drawings, and I will send those over to you.
Right. I mean, you're going to have taxi operations on Alpha. So it's like intersection takeoff at Alpha is used all the time by people. And there's a 700 foot or so foot clearance from runway 30 at Alpha. And I don't know, I'm not predicting things are going to happen, but with normal crosswinds you'll get on 22, you're going to hamper flying activities, I feel.
I understand, and that is a difficult position that we're in with this construction project, and that's unfortunately the decision that we have to stand by.
You have, besides the F-18s, which probably won't be here anyway, how many operations do we have a day on 826? Do you know?
Currently, I would have to get the numbers with the closure.
Do you have an average or something like that? I'm just curious what.
I don't have that readily
Well,
available.
we don't have it per runway. We
Per
have
runway.
it for the airport operations.
Okay.
We would likely have a better
What
sense
is
of
it,
what
then what is it for the? Oh, you don't have. Okay, so that's going to include all three then.
all three runways, correct.
I'm just trying to get a feel for that impact because.
Absolutely, and that is actually something that we would have a better sense of in the last week. We can compare numbers and run that data compared to what a normal week looks like here.
Yeah.
A lot of our aircraft that can't utilize that runway have ceased operations or relocated.
At least they have an option. We could have them landlocked. It's an option, I agree, but as a pilot, I'm looking forward to having all this done. Yeah, it is an inconvenience, but you either work with it or not even do it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Chuck that taking off on Alpha 26 going west is going to be a lot less, and it's not just an inconvenience, but there's safety issues. You're going to have anyone that wants to use the full runway of 22 is going to be back taxing. So you've got people all the time back taxing, and then people maybe coming into land. It's just that's why I say I'm not clear. It's not clear to me that the safety issue of taking off away from the construction is necessarily just a cut and dry. Yeah, it's better because the back taxing is not necessarily the safest way to operate.
Right, and we understand completely.
I know,
and that
you
is
guys looked at all that.
we're really in the less of three evils with this project when we try to coordinate these. And I can assure you, we have spent several hours trying to find the best options for everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
One more point. There's not a turn off on 22, so if you back taxi, you're going to have to remain on the runway the whole time. It's not like you can go to the end and back taxi and let someone else come in.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm hearing safety a lot type of thing, but as a pilot, I feel that it'd be safer operations to have 26 at Alpha for takeoff, 22 for landings. My opinion. I'll stop it at that.
Thank you.
Taxiway Alpha Electrical Rehabilitation. We do have the bid opening set for June 7th at 11 a.m. Really looking forward to seeing what the bids come in at because, like I said, this is kind of a discretionary project. The FAA is willing to fund to replace the electrical and lighting for Taxiway Alpha. So can't wait to see the bid openings. No updates from the inland port. Floyd hit on the water main system update. Just a reminder that we're supposed to have a final submittal by the week of July 3rd. This is an interesting development, but I'm kind of being hesitant on how much information to give at this moment because we're still in the preliminary process of it. But we do have an interested party in developing general aviation hangars, both nested T's and box hangars, for the area that we're looking into for improvements with the waterline relocation. We're having discussions with them right now, but they are interested in moving forward. So just putting a little bug in the air. And that's about it from the CEO side.
Okay, thank you. We don't have any board committees presently. Now, item 6 is director comments on items not on the agenda. Hush falls over the board. Okay, so item 7, closed session. We've got A through E to discuss. So if
quick question.
Yes.
Are we going to do item E today? This Director Barney requested that this be put on, and she is not here, and I don't know if she brought this up with you or not.
Lynn made some phone calls, right? That was
just in regards to the appendix for.
Oh,
here.
that's right. Okay.
I said.
We can defer it.
Yeah, I'd ask that based on the title, it'd be tabled
Till Director Barney
Yeah.
returns.
Yeah, that's
Okay, thank you.
okay. So we'll now go into closed session, and if you're online, we'll put you on hold and bring you back in for the report.
Recording stopped.